today I wanted to film my August TBR, which is a little special because in August I am joining a readathon, which is part of a Patreon exclusive readathon from Mel Reads. I will leave her channel and also the link to her Patreon link down below, so you can maybe join and look at it because the community is really fun, and this month's readathon is also really fun. It is called the Dark Ages Readathon, and I don't know if I can say a lot about it. It's because it is a Patreon exclusive, but yeah, I'm just gonna show my TBR for it, and I will also be starting my weekly reading vlogs with this readathon, so I'll be giving updates about, you know, the whole journey of it, and also I might use this as kind of like a way to kickstart reading vlogs, just because it is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but for some reason I put it into my head that I had to start reading vlogs on a Monday. So every time I wanted to do them, I forgot to start them on Monday, and then it's Tuesday, I'm like, okay, I'll just do it next week, and then every time I forget, and so yeah, now it's 3 months after I first thought of starting reading vlogs. But anyway, it's a fun time. The first book on my TBR is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This book has been on my TBR for a very long time. I have only bought it physically like last year, I think. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. I recently saw that it was going to be adapted in either a movie or TV show, which is very exciting. And I mean, I also heard a lot of people, like, I only hear good stuff about this book. I rarely heard anything bad about it. And the thing is, every time I see someone mention this book, they also talk about Truly Devious, because if you have read Truly Devious and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, you're either a Truly Devious girly or a Good Girl's Guide to Murder girly. Try to say that 10 times fast. Jesus Christ. I have read Truly Devious. I absolutely love Truly Devious. So I'm excited to see what I'm gonna think of this, because apparently you either like one or the other way more, and you're either Truly Devious or A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. But I've heard nothing but good stuff about Truly Devious, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I'm very excited to check it out. I know from the synopsis alone that it is very similar to Truly Devious, as the main character is a teenager who takes on a case that is supposedly solved, but then she finds out it's not actually solved. Like, there's something fishy about it, for a school project, which, you know, the whole thing about Truly Devious is that it literally takes place at a boarding school where everybody studies whatever the fuck they want to study. Like, they want to study their hobbies, and then the main character obviously studies true crime and unsolved crimes and all of that, and then she does a report on the crime that happened at the boarding school. This one doesn't take place at a boarding school, but it does follow the main character, who's a teenager, using a case as a final year project. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one. This is also the one that I'm gonna start off the readathon with, because I think the one thing I can say is that for the readathon, it's kind of like a competition between teams, and the more books you read and the more pages you read, the best, like, the more you'll make your team win. And so I have a plan, okay? Because there's betrayal, there's a nameless situation, there's a whole lot of stuff that we don't know until the end. So it's very exciting, it's very fun. So I'm gonna be starting off the readathon with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, just because based on the first prompt, this one fits the best. And I mean, for all the other prompts, I have a list of different books that I could be, you know, reading if I change my mind, or if I feel like reading something based on my mood. So then I can go back to the list and then pick something instead of the books that I have on my TBR now. Hi, editing Chloe here. I ended up not reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder as my first book. It was God Killer by Hannah Kanner. That is the book I started off reading the readathon with, because a bunch of people were reading God Killer as their first book, and one of the bingos was buddy read. So yeah, so a bunch of people were reading God Killer, so I thought, okay, I can just read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder for a different prompt. So that's what I ended up doing. I think A Good Girl's Guide to Murder ended up being my third book. So yeah, this is the one I ended up reading first. The second book on my TBR is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This will be my very first Agatha Christie book that I will ever read. It's me again. I didn't read And Then There Were None. I completely took that one off my TBR because of the bingo again. I wanted to read a graphic novel, so I bought a graphic novel on my Kindle, which was The Girl from the Sea. I don't remember the author. Hold on, let me check out. By Molly Knox Ostertag? By Molly Knox Ostertag. I hope I said that right. I probably did not. That is the one I ended up reading second instead of And Then There Were None. I took that one off because I think the second prompt was a book you already own, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, but I wanted to read something for the bingo. I wanted to read a graphic novel and something that was under, I think under 300 pages, and that ended up being that one. For the same reason, I picked And Then There Were None for the under 300 pages prompt, but it didn't. I ended up not having a single graphic novel for the path that I chose. That's why I ended up taking that one instead. The next book is Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. Nope. Like I said, my third book was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. At first I had changed Painted Devils to be my last prompt, but then I realized that I didn't have an audiobook for it, and there was no way I was going to get through that book without an audiobook as fast as I would have with the audiobook. So then I ended up just completely putting it on the side for when I do get the audiobook, which I think is in a couple of months, or maybe next month, but that would have been too late anyway. So yeah, I ended up completely removing that one from my TBR. I don't think a single book, except for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, stayed on my TBR. That seems to be about part of the course. So yeah, I think I'm just going to complete the rest of the TBR here now, because I'm pretty sure there's not a single book left that is still on my TBR. The third book is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Then the fourth one was another book that I bought on my Kindle, which is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner, which was for the prompts, a book with poison in the title or in the plot. I think that was what the prompt was. And the thing is, I love any books with poison, so this was perfect. And also I didn't read the full synopsis for it. All I read was the very beginning of it, and immediately it gave me major Aqua Tofana vibes. So yeah, by the time I'm filming this, I already finished every single book on my TBR except for the last one, which is Twin Crowns, which I'm currently reading. It's been 2 weeks and I still haven't posted this video. I only just started editing it and I realized there's not a single book that was left on my TBR. I don't know if The Lost Apothecary made it into this video or not, because at the very end I can see A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, And Then There Were None, and Painted Devils. So I assume there are 2 other books that are on my Kindle that I ended up also putting in this video, but I highly doubt that it is those 2 specifically. So yeah, and then obviously, like I said, the last book is Twin Crowns, which would be a reread. At first I was considering reading Cursed Crowns, which is a sequel, but then again a couple of people in the book club were going to read Twin Crowns, and so I just thought it would be fun to reread it, because that was my plan anyway this year, to reread Twin Crowns, because last year I only read it through the audiobook, and so I didn't tab or annotated it, and that is what I'm gonna do now. I think it's very funny that my TBR ended up being so different. There is a fly in my room since yesterday and it is aggressive. I always make the mistake of opening my windows, and because it's so warm, they just fly everywhere, and when they're stuck inside they get aggressive as hell, and it's truly something. So the exact order of my TBR for the month was God Killer, The Girl from the Sea, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, The Lost Apothecary, and Twin Crowns. Right now, this weekend, there is a 24-hour readathon happening within the readathon, and we have new prompts. So that means a whole new TBR for the weekend. Except for this one, we don't have to read all of them, nor do I have to read them in the order that the prompts are given. They are just opportunities to be able to give our teams more points. So yeah, I already finished 2, which the first one was The Deep by River Solomon, heart-wrenching. The second one was Spy Family Volume 8. Both of which I finished in one night, and then I also started A Marvelous Light, which would be my 3rd book for this weekend. I'm hoping that by the time that I finish editing the TBR video, and also the 2 weeks of weekly reading vlogs that I've already been filming, because right now it is Saturday, so my second reading vlog is coming to an end, and I haven't posted a single one of them because that's just how it is. I don't even know why I'm still posting it, just because it is, you know, late. I'm very late. We're almost 2 weeks into the month, so it's very late to post a TBR, but I just wanted to post it just to give more context of the readathon. So yeah, I don't know if I gave enough context for the readathon, but it's really fun. I highly doubt you can still join, but I think if you do join Mel's Patreon now, you can still join in, because all the prompts are still available, all of the Discord servers are still available, and I mean, we're all still going. There are people who only just finished their first prompt, and there are people that already finished their last prompt, so you're good if you still want to join. It's a really fun community, and I highly recommend it, and I highly recommend you join, because Melly's planning on making these kinds of readathons more often, which is really fun, because through these prompts, way more of us are reading way more books. Like, I have never read at this rate. It's the 12th, okay? It's the 12th of the month, and I've finished God Killer, The Girl from the Sea, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, The Lost Apothecary, The Deep, and Spy Family Volume 8. 2 of which are, you know, non-books. They're one manga and one graphic novel. But I read 4 books, and we're not even 2 weeks into the month. Who is she? There's no way. So yeah, and I'm not the only one who feels this way. Like, there are a bunch of people who are reading at lightning speed because of the prompts and because of this whole readathon thing. Like, we're having a blast. So I highly recommend you join. It's a really fun time. Like I said at the beginning, I will be leaving a link down below to both Mel's YouTube channel, and then also the link to her Patreon, just so you can join it if you feel like joining it. I will highly recommend you do, like I said already a couple of times. But yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna close up the video. I don't think I'm going to end it with the original video, just because it wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video, even though it's a really big mess. Like and subscribe and all of the other YouTube things I'm supposed to say, and stay tuned for the weekly reading vlogs, because it's a lot of chaos. It's a lot of me being sleep deprived as usual. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.